Hello. So today's video is completely different from any of the others that I've ever done of my own garden, which, if you're new to this channel, I grow in my own garden, which is tropical style in the UK, mainly evergreens, hardy evergreens, palms and that kind of thing. But I also do in the summer months grow tender plants, but I tend to not grow that many because I like my garden to look good all year round. So I use the tenders like cannas and codicaceas to fill gaps and brighten it up. But I'm also a landscape gardener and I use a lot of tropical plants in the gardens that I do. So I have the use of this polytunnel, which is a family member's polytunnel, and I don't have the entire use. They are plants of their own and that in here as well, but over the last sort of couple of years I've grown in this area you can see in front. Bear in mind it's the 29th of December today and we've just had a really cold spell, one of the coldest we've had for many years, and it has done a lot of damage throughout the country. So I've just come down to the polytunnel today to sort of see what sort of damage that I'm facing here, what I may have lost, and what's still good. So in general, the plants in here are mainly seed grown plants that I've grown from my own garden, divisions from cannas and plants like that, maybe gingers, and I keep them down here. I've planted them down here to grow bigger, maybe divide, maybe use in other gardens in the future. Plus this area here, if I can find the footage of earlier in the summer, was a bit of a jungle experiment which worked kind of well. They grew really well, the plants, but there was also, it was very hot. It definitely needs more shade netting to be able to grow them types of plants. So I'm gonna have a little walk around and basically go through what's happened. So this area here under there is mainly cannas. Now all the leaves you can see is not where the cannas have collapsed. Just before the real cold spell came, I rushed down here in a panic, chopped all the leaves off and used them in a mulch, and I've moved a little bit and it does seem to have worked because there's still quite a lot of green on the stems and they are in the ground, so hopefully that should have given some sort of insulating factors. The tall plants you can see I totally expected to lose. They were self-sown Ricinus New Zealand purple, so first sign of frost they were gone anyway. This here, which is fleeced up in the middle, is two stems of Musa sycamensis, red tiger I believe. So that's the one that's green leaves with the red stripes. I felt them, they're wrapped in a few layers of fleece and they are still really firm, which surprises me, but they are firm all the way to the top. So depending on how the rest of the winter goes, they may be okay. They are one of the hardier bananas for the UK. I have had them in my own garden and I have lost them in my own garden. So temperature wise in here, I can't actually give you a specific for how cold it got in here, as there isn't a thermometer in here. This area, so the land that I'm on where this polytunnel is based, or if in America I think you'd probably call this a hoop house maybe, I think the lowest they got for just one night outside, not in here, was -11. So I can't actually guarantee that, and looking at some of the plants outside, I'd be surprised if it did get that cold, but it depends on which part of the area we're talking about, as some have bits of microclimate and some don't. So in general, I think under that horrible ugly pile of mess, all the cannas under there hopefully should be okay. They are usually in here the last couple of years with no protection whatsoever and they grow back. the cannas I've got in there, there's a big pile of Canna Cleopatra, and there's lots of seed grown cannas, which what I do, I have a little bit of a hobby in where I tried to hybrid cannas, the seed species ones. Obviously Canna Cleopatra is a hybrid and doesn't produce seed, but I grow that just to help sort of multiply it and get more of them. But the seed ones, I keep trying, keep cross-pollinating them and see if I can produce something new, then growing them in here and seeing what happens. I know this isn't the most attractive video with just a big pile of dead leaves, but I was hoping just to explain, so if you see this again in summer in a future video, you can see where I'm at and why I'm doing it. Down this side, these are all lots of Trachycarpus seedlings. The seed came from my own garden. They were self-seeded in mine, and I've just divided them and potted them up, and then slowly pot them up, just let them get bigger. Hopefully maybe use them for my landscaping in the future as they get to bigger plants. They don't all tend to be in here all summer. I like to grow them outside, but because I see this cold spell was coming, a load more of them come in. They were some seed grown fatsia, just loads and loads of Trachycarpus seedlings. Ophiopogon grass there, just divided and grown from seed over the years by myself. Loads more seedlings, all done absolutely fine. Loads of work there for me in spring to repot loads of them up. So over this part we have some Stripatula cuttings that I took last year, some Fascicularia, Bicola, Agave Americana and Montana, which have all been sort of grown bigger or propagated by me, but all look absolutely healthy, kept in here in the dry. That's a Yucca Estrata, which is going into my garden, but it's just been kept here to overwinter it in the dry. So just back over here, the tree ferns aren't mine, but they've come in here to overwinter. They have not done very well over the last couple of years. The crowns have got smaller, they've struggled to keep them watered, but hopefully this year they'll go somewhere a bit shadier, which should help them. But they're still really green, so hopefully they'll look better in the future. Around here, Camarops humilis that I'm just growing bigger. Cordyline Red Star that I brought as little plants and I was growing bigger for any of maybe the gardens I do in the future. But these ones in here haven't had much damage. There's a couple at the back showing damage, and one's completely rotten away over the back there, which I can't really get in the camera. Yeah, not too good really. I do have some outside as well that have took a lot more damage, which I'll go and show you in a minute. And it shows the difference between the red Cordylines and the green for hardiness. So I thought I'd just show you these plants that I was growing on from small to use in the future for maybe some of my landscaping work, and show you some of the effects that this cold spell's had and maybe the difference in hardiness. So if we just look over here, the Mahonia soft caresses done absolutely fine, track is done fine. Now the potted green Cordylines there, I've had a look through them all and they all seem absolutely fine, whereas literally right next to them, now it's well known that the Cordyline Red Star is not as hardy, but it just goes to show that every single one of them have collapsed and they are probably 2 foot away from the green one. The same as these Formiums here, which I believe, if I remember rightly, were Cream Delight. They've took quite a lot of damage compared to right next to them, the Yellow Waves, which have got don't seem to be showing any damage at all really on most of them, maybe a couple. So it just goes to show you, even with these plants that we believe are relatively hardy evergreens, they can still take quite a lot of damage compared to the other varieties. So just going around here, for instance, these tougher green formiums, which I can't remember the variety now, but they do show just a little bit of variegation in them. They're not a variegata, I believe, but they all look almost untouched. So even when you're thinking about the hardy evergreen plants, it just goes to show that even then you've got to think about the variety as well, because that could give you quite a few more degrees of hardiness. Bit gutted about the Albizia. Was doing really well. Total accident. I put it in here as a seed grown little mini tree. It was in a pot and it just rooted into the ground. If you look at the size of the tree, it's probably in like a 3 litre pot. So it rooted through the bottom and become a big specimen, which looked really good in the summer, and I decided just to leave it there and not worry. But I think that's a goner now. That's probably frozen through the pot and killed it. So thought I'd just show this video of the more ugly side of tropical gardening, all this mush and mess, and I'm glad it's not in my garden. But we'll see what comes back from it all, and then hopefully in spring when it warms up I can do a video of it all reshooting. But honestly don't know what will recover and what won't. So thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.